A soldier should know the difference between words and deeds. Hrothgar, king of the Danes, had a monster haunt the great Harrod Hall, built to honor soldiers and celebrate wealth. Beowulf, a mighty and wise warrior with the strength of 30 men, appears before Hrothgar to rid of the beast. He offers to rid the beast for Hrothgar because Hrothgar once paid the Weregild price for Ecgtheow, Beowulf's father. Ecgtheow killed a man unjustly over a feud with the Wilfings tribe and had to either pay with his life or with gold. Hrothgar embraces Beowulf for his offer and accepts his help. He offers Beowulf a family seat during dinner for his courage and adventures. Jealous of Beowulf, Eglaf's son, Unferth, spoke harshly about Beowulf's swimming match with Breca for 7 nights, a battle which he lost. Beowulf justifies they both carried a naked sword, but Beowulf was stronger and faster. On the 5th night was when he was swept away by a flood. He was then dragged under the sea, attacked by a monster while he wore chainmail. His sword found the monster's heart, but it attracted 8 more to attack him at once. He doesn't mean to boast, but neither Unferth or Breca can beat Beowulf. Unferth speaks of honor when he possesses none. You murdered your brothers, your own close kin. If your hands were as hard, your heart as fierce as you think, no fool would dare to raid your hall. Ruin Harrod as Grendel has done. Beowulf rests in the mead hall, strips of his clothes, armor, and weapons, waiting for Grendel. Because of the party the Geats threw earlier in the night, it catches Grendel's attention because of the noise. The monster that haunts the mead hall bursts through the doors, eats the first Geatish soldier he sees, and drinks his blood while Beowulf watches to study his new enemy. Grendel then tries to attack Beowulf, but he grabs his hands and bends them back. No other man had the strength of 30 men to challenge Grendel before. Grendel became terrified and tried to run away. The Geatish soldiers tried to attack Grendel, but his skin was cursed and was immune to mortal weaponry. As Grendel runs, Beowulf holds on to his arm and rips it clean off the shoulder socket. Grendel runs to the swamp, only to die from the loss of blood. The town's Danish people followed the trail of blood Grendel left behind to see the beast. They later returned to the mead hall rejoicing. They sing about Beowulf and tell about Sigmund, a great dragon slayer who was a great king, and Hermod, a terrible king that was terrible to his subjects. Hrothgar basically adopts Beowulf by including him in his family. Unferth says nothing because he is amazed how a single man killed Grendel with no clothing or weapons. Now that Beowulf has Grendel's arm as a trophy, Unferth isn't boasting anymore. Although Beowulf defeated Grendel, he admits that he messed up because he wanted to bear hug Grendel and pop him. They later clean up the mead hall and finally use it again after 12 winters for a party. At the family table, Beowulf sits and is given gifts such as a sword, helmet, chainmail, a gold banner, and the king's saddle. The king's saddle represents Beowulf's rise in worth, wealth, and kingly position. Beowulf is also given the most beautiful necklace known to man by Wealhtheow, Hrothgar's wife. The necklace is passed down by royal ancestry and is cursed to kill those who wear it. Grendel's mother came to Harrod Hall seeking revenge for her son since Hrothgar will not pay the Weregild. She bursts through the doors, grabs their weapons, and devours Hrothgar's best friend, Thane, Aesir. Hrothgar mourns the loss of his friend, while Beowulf notices that she also stole his trophy, Grendel's arm. She didn't stay long to fight since she's not as strong as her son. Hrothgar guilts Beowulf, saying, "She's taken revenge for your victory over Grendel," blaming him. "Let your sorrow end. It is better for us all to avenge our friends, not mourn them forever." At the actual lake of Grendel's mom, the lake is so corrupted that natural things avoid its evil aura. The water is red of boiling blood and full of sea monster snakes and has Aesir's head. Beowulf dives into the water wearing armor and carrying a sword given to him by Unferth called Hrunting. Beowulf wants all of his belongings given to Hygelac and Hrunting back to Unferth if he dies. They begin to battle, but in the water, the sword can't cut her and bounces off her skin. He resorts to hand-to-hand combat again. "So fame comes to a man who means to win it and cares about nothing else." Beowulf descends into an underwater hall and he finds a big ancient sword too big for any man to carry. He swings at Grendel's mother, decapitating her. He returns to Grendel's body, taking his head too. Their blood corrodes the ancient sword, leaving only the hilt behind. The Danes leave the swamp, believing Beowulf died. The Geats stay and saw Beowulf arise from the swamp with Hrunting, the hilt of a sword, and 2 heads as a trophy. Hrothgar is told by Beowulf that he almost died 3 times, showing change from warrior to king. Hrothgar then tells Beowulf to not be like Hermod, a terrible leader and king. Beowulf needs to share his wealth with his people and be a great king. You'll succumb to mortality eventually, so lead a good kingly life. Beowulf sits next to Hygelac, king of the Geats, and speaks honestly of the battle with Grendel and his mother. Beowulf offers the necklace given to him by Wealhtheow, Hrothgar's wife, but it ends up killing both Hygelac and his son, Herdred, after being warned by Hygd, Hygelac's wife. Beowulf succeeds to the throne and rules for 50 winters. At this time, Beowulf is approximately 70 years of age. There once was a king that set up a tower full of gold and left it, only to have it later taken over by a dragon. The dragon has been asleep ever since until a foolish slave enters the tower. The slave wanted to buy his life back with the gold and stole a golden chalice, waking up the dragon. It began to fly around at night, terrorizing the people for his golden treasure to return. The dragon also burns down Harrett Hall. Beowulf blames himself about the dragon and begins to suit up in armor, helmet, sword, and a big iron shield. Beowulf enters the tower with a heavy heart, but not of fear, because he knows he's going to die soon. He'll be taking the dragon with him and be sure to leave behind fortune for his people. Beowulf fights the dragon and it spits fire, melting his iron shield. He swings his sword and cuts its neck, breaking the ancient sword in half. All the Geats run as Beowulf fights the dragon, except for one, Wiglaf. Be strong, my brave, my noble king, protecting life and fame together. My sword will fight at your side. The dragon thrust its tusk into Beowulf's neck, and blood came flooding forth like rain. When Beowulf needed him most, Wiglaf showed his courage, strength, and skill. Beowulf then strikes the dragon. Wiglaf struck lower down until the dragon began to belch flames. While the dragon died away, Beowulf cuts the beast in half, decapitating it. Beowulf's wound on his neck began to swell. He felt his veins burning, a stinging venom, and he fumbled onto the floor. I've worn this crown for 50 winters. No neighboring people had even tried to threaten the Geats. Wiglaf shows Beowulf the golden banner and the treasure they won together. I've sold my life for this treasure. Take what I leave, Wiglaf. Lead my people. Help them. My time is gone. His soul left his flesh, flew to glory. When the battle ended, Beowulf's follower came out of the forest, cowards and traitors, knowing their king was dead. They came out like shamefaced jackals, their shield in their hands. Wiglaf orders a messenger to inform the rest of the Geats that the great King Beowulf and the dragon has died. Meanwhile, Wiglaf throws shame at the feet of the Geats that abandoned their king. He called them pathetic warriors and exiled them for their offense. Beowulf is dead and the Geats are leaderless. While Beowulf reigned, he proved to be a soldier not to be messed with by his deeds and adventures, that he was able to manage to keep peace for 50 years. They kicked the dragon's body over the edge into the water. They burnt Beowulf's corpse and placed his ashes into the tower where he died, later to be built over and named Beowulf's Tower. Beowulf was the greatest king to have ever lived. Nobody beats Beowulf as a king nor warrior. Fate and his will were too strong. Everyone knows the treasure his life brought. But Beowulf was worth more than this gold, and this gift is a harsh one.